Yo, hoopheads, what's good, basketball family? Welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you a question right off the bat. What is the real price of a championship? I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about the luxury tax, I'm talking about the soul of a franchise. What are you willing to sacrifice? Who are you willing to let go of to get one more shot at hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy? We've seen teams mortgage their entire future for one run at glory. We've seen loyalties tested and promises broken, all in the name of winning. It's the beautiful and brutal business of the NBA, and right now, nobody is staring that question in the face harder than the Golden State Warriors. The clock is ticking, man. Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter God ever created, isn't getting any younger. The window for this dynasty, for this legendary core, is closing. They know it, we know it, the whole league knows it. They made a smart, solid move this offseason, bringing in a veteran champion in Al Horford, a high IQ guy, a great locker room presence, someone who knows what it takes to win. It was a good move. But in today's Western Conference, a conference that is an absolute shark tank, is good enough? Or do you need to make a move that sends shockwaves through the entire league? That's what we're talking about today. A rumor so big, so franchise-altering, it could define the next 5 years in the Bay Area. Stick around, because this one gets crazy. All right, let's set the stage, because context is everything in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors are in a fascinating spot. They're trying to do two things at once, which is one of the hardest things to do in professional sports. They're trying to win a championship right now to maximize the last few prime years of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. At the same time, they're trying to build a bridge to the future. They have this crop of young, talented players, headlined by the freakishly athletic forward, Jonathan Kuminga. For a while there, it looked like the two timelines were on a collision course. There was drama, there were reports of frustration. But they figured it out. Kuminga came back to the team with a renewed focus. He's been saying all the right things. He's made it clear he wants to be a warrior. He wants to learn from the legends, and he wants to be the guy who carries the torch when they finally decide to hang it up. He is the embodiment of their future. So, the front office, led by Mike Dunleavy Jr., goes out and makes a veteran move. They bring in Al Horford. And look, nobody's going to slander Big Al. The man is a 5-time All-Star, a proven winner, and one of the smartest defensive bigs of his generation. He can still protect the rim, he can direct traffic on defense, and you have to respect his shot from the outside, which is critical in the Warriors' offense. He's a perfect veteran to plug into that system. He makes them better. He raises their floor. But does he raise their ceiling high enough to beat a team like the Denver Nuggets and a 2-time MVP in Nikola Jokic? Does he put them over the top against a young, hungry Minnesota Timberwolves squad with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns? Does he have the juice to hang with the Oklahoma City Thunder's army of long, athletic wings? That's the real question. Because when you look around the league, the standard for a championship center has changed. You need a guy who can not only anchor a defense, but also be a dynamic threat on offense. A guy who can switch out on guards on the perimeter, protect the rim, and also be a hub on offense, creating plays for others. Horford is a solid B+ version of that. But there's an A+, all-NBA version out there. A player who is the absolute perfect center for the modern NBA, and maybe the perfect partner to pair with Stephen Curry for one last epic run. And his name is Bam Adebayo. And this, right here, is where it gets crazy. This is where the comfortable, feel-good story of veteran additions and promising youth takes a hard left turn into the cold, hard world of blockbuster trades. According to a report from Clutch Point's insider Brett Siegel on October 3rd, the Golden State Warriors have their eyes on a much bigger prize than Al Horford. They are reportedly monitoring the situation with Miami Heat's all-star big man, Bam Adebayo. And when I say Bam is the perfect center for the Warriors, I am not exaggerating. This is a match made in basketball heaven. It's the kind of move that doesn't just make you a contender, it makes you the villain. It makes you the team everyone is terrified to play. Let's just break down what Bam Adebayo brings to the table, because you have to understand the sheer talent we're talking about here. Over the last 2 seasons, the man has averaged 18.6 points and 10 rebounds a game. He's a walking double-double who can get you buckets in a variety of ways. He's got a soft touch around the rim, a solid mid-range game, and he's even started to stretch his range out to the three-point line, shooting 35.7% from deep last year. Think about that for a second. A center who you have to respect from beyond the arc. That completely changes the geometry of the floor for a guy like Steph Curry. But his offense, as good as it is, isn't even his best skill. Bam Adebayo is, without a doubt, one of the 5 best defensive players on planet Earth. Period. He is a defensive Swiss Army knife. He has the strength and size to bang with traditional centers like Jokic and Embiid in the post. He has the quickness and agility to switch onto lightning-fast point guards on the perimeter and stay in front of them. He's got incredible instincts as a help-side rim protector, rotating over to erase shots at the last second. He is, essentially, a souped-up, more athletic version of Draymond Green on the defensive end. And we all know how a prime Draymond Green completely revolutionized the center position and anchored 4 championship defenses. Now imagine having a player with that kind of defensive versatility, who is also a legitimate 20-point-per-game scorer. It's insane. Picture the 2-man game between Steph and Bam. The dribble handoffs, the high pick and rolls. The defense has to make an impossible choice. Do you switch and leave a smaller defender on Bam as he rolls to the rim for a lob? Do you drop back to contain Bam and give Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, an inch of space to launch a 3? Do you double Steph and let Bam play 4-on-3, making plays for others like a point center? There is no right answer. It's a defensive nightmare. It would unlock a new level for the Warriors' offense, one we haven't even seen during this dynasty run. This isn't just an upgrade on Al Horford. This is like trading in a reliable Toyota Camry for a brand new Ferrari. Both will get you where you need to go, but one does it with a level of power and performance that is simply in another stratosphere. This is the kind of move that swings championships. Now check this out. As a fan, it's easy to get lost in the fantasy of it all, right? We fire up the trade machine, we mix and match players, and we build our dream super team. But in the real world, a move of this magnitude, for a player of this caliber, doesn't come for free. It comes with a cost, a very, very steep cost. And that cost has a name: Jonathan Kuminga. This is the heart of the dilemma. This is the price of a championship we talked about at the top. Bam Adebayo is on a massive contract, paying him around $37 million a year. The Warriors, as we all know, are perpetually deep in the luxury tax. They can't just absorb that kind of salary. To make a trade work, the money has to match. And the easiest, most direct path to matching that $37 million number is to include Jonathan Kuminga and his new $23.2 million salary in the deal. And man, that is just a gut punch. This is the kid you've been developing for the last 3 years. The number 7 overall pick who has shown flashes of being a future All-Star. The explosive athlete who can jump out of the gym and put defenders on a poster. This is the player who you weathered the storm with, who you got to buy into the program. The player who literally just said he does not want to be traded, that he wants to be a Warrior for the long haul. And now, for the chance to win one more title with Steph, you might have to look that young man in the eye, thank him for his service, and ship him off to Miami. That is the cold, hard reality of the NBA. It's a business. And sometimes, business is brutal. This creates the ultimate future versus present showdown inside the Warriors' front office. Do you trade away the player who could be the face of your franchise for the next 10 years, for a player who gives you a better chance to win for the next 2 or 3? Do you sacrifice a decade of potential contention for a shot at immediate glory? Do you break the trust of a young player who has done everything you've asked of him? It's a legacy-defining decision for Mike Dunleavy Jr. There is no easy answer. If you make the trade and win a championship, you're a genius. A ruthless genius, but a genius nonetheless. If you make the trade and fall short, you've not only lost your shot at a title, but you've also given away your future for nothing. And if you don't make the trade, and Kuminga develops into the star you think he can be, you look brilliant. But if you don't make the trade, and the Warriors flame out in the second round for the next 2 years, everyone will wonder, what if they had just gone all in for Bam? The pressure is immense. And it's not just Kuminga. A trade for Bam would likely require the Warriors to empty the war chest. We're talking about Kuminga, plus probably another young player like Moses Moody, maybe even a veteran salary like Gary Payton II, and a boatload of draft picks. The Warriors have 6 first-round picks that they are eligible to trade or swap. Miami would want a significant chunk of those. You'd be sending out your best young player and a mountain of future assets. It's a massive, massive gamble. It's pushing all your chips to the center of the table for one final hand with the current core. Are they willing to do it? That's the $37 million question. But this story has another layer, another major player pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And that player is the legendary, the iconic, the Godfather himself, Pat Riley. To understand why the Miami Heat would even entertain this, you have to understand Riley. The man is one of the greatest team builders and executives in the history of sports, but he's also driven by rivalries, by history, and by his own legacy. And there is no figure in the NBA that Pat Riley has a more storied and contentious rivalry with than LeBron James and, by extension, the Los Angeles Lakers. For years, there have been whispers that if Bam Adebayo were ever to become available, the Lakers would be at the front of the line to try and acquire him, to create a new Big Three with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And according to the reports, Pat Riley might be willing to do just about anything to prevent that from happening. The thought of helping LeBron win another ring, of strengthening his biggest rival, is something that probably makes his skin crawl. So, what's the alternative? You send Bam to the Warriors, the Lakers' other great rival. In Riley's mind, that might be a win in itself. It's a strategic move in the grand chess match of the NBA. Not only does he get a massive haul of assets back for his star player, but he also gets to stick it to the Lakers in the process. It's a classic Pat Riley power play. And let's not forget, the Heat have reportedly been interested in Jonathan Kuminga for a long time. They've seen the same flashes of brilliance that the Warriors have. They see a young, hyper-athletic wing who could become a cornerstone for them as they potentially retool their roster. A package centered around Kuminga and multiple first-round picks could be exactly what they're looking for if they decide their current core has hit its ceiling. It gives them a new, exciting young talent to build around and a ton of draft capital to make other moves down the line. So, from Miami's perspective, if they feel a change is needed, a deal with the Warriors makes a ton of sense, perhaps even more sense than a deal with any other team. The pieces fit, the motivations align, and the underlying rivalries add a whole extra layer of spice to the situation. It's a perfect storm of speculation, and it feels like something is brewing just beneath the surface. So, let's bring it all home. Let's look at the massive, franchise-altering stakes on the table. For the Golden State Warriors, this is about one thing and one thing only: maximizing what's left of Stephen Curry's prime. It's about legacy. It's about squeezing one more championship, maybe two, out of this golden era. They're faced with a monumental choice. Do they trust the path they're on, developing their youth while relying on their veteran core? A path of balance and patience? Or do they throw patience out the window, push all their chips in, and make a ruthless, all-in move for a superstar in Bam Adebayo, even if it means sacrificing the future and breaking the heart of a young player who has pledged his loyalty to them? It's a classic battle of ambition versus loyalty, of the present versus the future. And for the Miami Heat, it's about navigating their own crossroads. Do they run it back with their current core? Or do they see the writing on the wall and pivot towards a new era, anchored by a talent like Jonathan Kuminga and a treasure chest of draft picks? And for Pat Riley, it's another chance to play puppet master, to shape the landscape of the league while settling old scores. The ripple effects of this one potential trade are enormous. It could create a new super team in the Bay Area. It could launch a new era of basketball in South Beach, and it could slam the door shut on the Lakers' championship aspirations. It's the kind of off-season drama that we, as fans, live for. The speculation, the debate, the endless what-ifs. So, I have to turn it back to you, the basketball family. I need to know what you think. If you were Mike Dunleavy Jr., if you were sitting in the GM's chair for the Golden State Warriors, what call would you make? Do you pull the trigger on this blockbuster trade for Bam Adebayo, creating a potential juggernaut but sacrificing your future? Or do you stay the course, trust in Jonathan Kuminga's development, and show loyalty to the player you've groomed to be your next star? There is no right or wrong answer here, just massive risks on both sides. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you would do. Are the Warriors making a mistake by even considering this? Or is it the exact kind of ruthless move they need to make to win another title? I want to hear all of it, the hot takes, the analysis, everything. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, if you love talking hoops as much as I do me a favor and hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're breaking down all the biggest stories, rumors, and games all season long, and you don't want to miss a thing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep ballin'.